Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Pheno Field as Milford TV is happy to once again bring you coverage of Milford High School baseball this afternoon. It is your Milford Scarlet Hawks taking on another competitor from the Kelly Rex division in the visiting Taunton Tigers. I am Tim Coet, Rob O'Keefe down at field level operating the camera. And for the Scarlet Hawks team in the early games of the season, looking to find some consistency at the plate, some up and down performances at the dish, but shaking up the lineup prior to their game this past Monday against the Stoughton Knights, and they've really seen some solid results since then. They've scored 14 runs in their last two games, both of those victories over Stoughton on Monday, and also another victory tallied on Wednesday as well. So a two-game winning streak into the game here this afternoon. Meanwhile, the Taunton Tigers on a two-game losing streak. So Milford looking to extend that winning streak here this afternoon against a Hockomock League crossover opponent. We will have the starting lineups and the game's first pitch when we come back next here on Milford TV. And we welcome you back into Pheno Field, ladies and gentlemen, getting set for a matchup of Kelly Rex versus Davenport as your Milford Scarlet Hawks are about to take on the Taunton Tigers. Milford with a two-game winning streak. I mentioned that coming into the game today. A 6-2 win over Stoughton on Monday the 27th, and then an 8-6 victory, a bit of a wild game on the road against Franklin on the 29th. Both the baseball and softball teams playing exciting contests against their Franklin counterparts. Of course, it's hard to beat what the softball team was able to do against the Franklin Lady Panthers, a 10-inning game. It ultimately ended in a walk-off home run, just about every bit of excitement you could jam into a softball game. And that should be available for viewing on our educational channel soon. You can check out our programming guide at milfordtv.net/programming for all of that information. You can also catch all of the games on our YouTube channel. Just search for My Milford TV once you go to YouTube, and you can check out all of our sports programming and all of the rest of our Milford TV programming as well. Getting closer to game time now, the ground rules being attended to at home plate between both head coaches and also the two-man umpiring crew. A bit of a later start than usual to this game today, with Taunton and Milford about as far away as two Hockomock League teams get. Scheduled to be a 4 o'clock start. We're right at 4 o'clock right now, so we should see first pitch in just the next few minutes. So what we'll do now is we will go over lineups for this afternoon's game. We'll start with the visitors. That is the Taunton Tigers. Leading it off is the designated hitter DJ Koulis, with the second baseman Zach McLean batting second. The starting pitcher Sam Moore bats third, with Dylan Poilucci, the first baseman, in the cleanup spot. It is the right fielder Luke Figuera who bats fifth, with Brendan Mazarol, the shortstop, batting sixth. Kevin Griffin plays third base and bats seventh. Batting eighth is the catcher Tyler Whalen, and in the ninth spot is the center fielder Jose Mercado. And for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, leading it off once again is the second baseman Drew Wild. Batting second is the shortstop Aiden Wild, with Jeff Basazzi, the catcher, batting third. Blake Hill is in the cleanup spot playing right field, with Griffin Lynch playing left field and batting fifth. Anthony Mazzini plays first base and bats sixth, with Pete Schuler playing center field in the number 7 spot in the lineup. The starting pitcher for today's game bats eighth. That is Alex Macek. And in the ninth spot is the third baseman Tommy Thomas. Should also note that flexed out of Taunton's starting lineup is their left fielder Billy Emerson, only in the game defensively. As both starting pitchers are in the lineup, that pitching matchup, Sam Moore will take the mound for the Taunton Tigers, and Alex Macek will take the mound for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. So the first time that we've had a chance to cover a game this season in which Alex Croto has not made the start, getting a little bit of rest for the remainder of this week. Again, he pitched just a terrific ball game back on Monday afternoon on this field, taking on the Stoughton Black Knights. He allowed just one earned run in a complete game effort, 11 strikeouts in the game. And I did mention it back during that broadcast, but in his last two starts, Alex Croto with 20 strikeouts in those two games, pitching the complete game effort in both of those outings. So now the Scarlet Hawks have taken the field. Alex Macek on the mound, about to make a couple of warm-up tosses here before we get the game underway. It's a bit overcast once again. That seems to be the trend over the last couple of weeks in which we've covered games. It should most definitely stay dry during the game this afternoon. No rain expected in the area. It was about 55 degrees when we headed down here to the field a little bit earlier. Now officially 56 degrees at game time. But it will be warmer conditions for any games played here in the Milford area next week, as temperatures are expected to be in the upper 60s, 70s, and even in some cases 80s over the course of next week. So it'll feel much more like summer baseball weather for the spring sports teams to continue their regular seasons in the next week to come. The head coaches for these two teams, Paul Pellegrini, of course, the head coach for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, Jeff Sylvia, the head coach for the Taunton Tigers. And the leadoff batter, DJ Koulis, waiting in the on-deck circle for Macek to conclude his warm-up tosses. Milford playing a bit of a wild game on the road against Franklin earlier this week. I mentioned it, 4 runs in the first inning, so it looked like it was going to be a one-sided affair. But Franklin was able to battle back, make it a 1-run game. But ultimately the Scarlet Hawks were able to pull it out behind a solid effort once again from the top of their lineup. Drew Wild, 2 for 4 in the game, scoring 2 runs. He also hit a double in that game. Aiden Wild also with a hit. Blake Hill contributing, a 2 for 4 day for Griffin Lynch. So again, we mentioned right off the top of the broadcast this reshuffling of the lineup that has gone on this week with what you will see out there in the lineup for Milford today. That really seems to be the mix that is paying dividends for this team. The Wild brothers really setting the tone for this lineup and giving an opportunity to those big middle of the order bats, Basazi, Hill, and Lynch, to really do some damage. And we will see if they can do damage here again this afternoon. We are set to go for baseball. As Koulis, now the designated hitter, lurks right outside that right side batter's box as Basazi and Macek conclude a few final words. And number 24, Alex Macek, now settling down on the rubber, about to dish in his first pitch. Into the windup. Here is the first pitch of the game, and it misses for ball 1. And now ball 2 sails too far inside. Koulis jumps out ahead in the count. Alex Macek, also a member of the Milford varsity basketball team back during the winter sports season. We're falling behind here, 3 balls and no strikes. The wind up and the pitch. And that one misses low for ball 4, so an ominous beginning to this outing for Macek as he delivers a 4-pitch walk to the leadoff hitter. And now the right-handed batting Zach McLean steps in. And there is the first strike of the outing for Macek. Zach McLean, one of the captains of this Taunton Tigers squad, along with Sam Moore, who will be the starting pitcher, and also Luke Figuera. A check over at first base, and Koulis is back. No balls, 1 strike, nobody out, and a runner on first base as we are just underway in the top of the first. From the stretch, here's the pitch, a bunt attempt down the first base line. The only play is for the pitcher, and Macek is able to make it as he underhand shuffles to first base for the out. Works out as a sacrifice bunt for McLean as Koulis moves up into scoring position at second base. And now here is the starting pitcher for Taunton facing the starting pitcher for Milford as Sam Moore, the lefty batter, steps in. And there is strike one. So Taunton trying to get that man into scoring position right away. At second base now with one out. As Macek hesitates, now delivers to the plate. A fly ball out to shallow left field. A late break for Griffin Lynch, but he comes on and makes the catch. Lynch freezing in his tracks momentarily. Maybe he couldn't pick up on that ball right off the bat, but he was able to recover in time to make the running catch. Two outs now in the inning. Koulis remains at second base. As now Dylan Poilucci, the first baseman, stands in. Macek's first pitch is inside for a ball, allowing a leadoff walk on 4 pitches. Has gathered in the first 2 outs of the inning since then. Deals in a strike here to even up the count at 1-1. Much less of a breeze here at Pheno Field today than what we have experienced recently. Just a very light breeze, at times gusting from left to right across the field. Here's the 1-1. This is hit high in the air on the infield. It is Drew Wild who takes charge and makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So no harm done after that leadoff walk. The Milford Scarlet Hawks will take their first swings of the game when we return here on Milford TV. Taunton strands a runner in scoring position in the top half of the first inning. Now it is Milford coming to the plate against the Taunton starting pitcher, Sam Moore. The Hawks lineup facing a lefty on the mound to start this ball game as the left-handed batting Drew Wild gets set to lead things off in the bottom of the first. He'll be followed by his younger brother Aiden Wild and then the catcher Jeff Basazzi. Wild sets up shop in tight on that left side batter's box. And the first pitch from Moore. And that's in for a called strike one. Again, 2 more hits for Drew Wild in the victory over the Tigers, or excuse me, the Franklin Panthers back on Wednesday. Now sends a chopper back towards the mound. A friendly hop for Sam Moore. He fires to first base, and the leadoff batter is retired. 1-3 on the ground out, and now here is the shortstop, Aiden Wild. Aiden continuing to enjoy a lot of success in his first year of varsity action. He brought a .538 batting average into this week's Hockomock League action. Came through with a couple of hits against Stoughton on Monday, another hit in the ball game on Wednesday against Franklin. So that average continues to rise. Takes a called strike. Third baseman Kevin Griffin playing in tight on the infield grass. As Moore goes back into his windup, here's the pitch. And that misses. Defensively for Taunton, it's Tyler Whalen behind the plate, Kevin Griffin at third, Brendan Mazarol at short, Zach McLean at second, and Dylan Poilucci at first. Left to right in the outfield, Billy Emerson, Jose Mercado, and Luke Figuera. Another one misses the zone. And a 3-ball, 1-strike count now on the number 2 hitter in the Milford lineup. The 3-1 pitch. Wild may have gone after ball 4. As he swung away at that high pitch, fouls it straight to the backstop, and the count runs full. Sun trying to make an appearance once again through the cloud cover. Here's the payoff pitch in the at-bat, and it's lined right back up the middle for a base hit. Aiden Wild shooting that one on a line right past the pitcher Moore and out into center field for a one-out single. So Wild, his hitting streak continues as he is aboard ahead of Jeff Basazzi. We'll see how this right-handed heavy Milford lineup deals with the left-handed throwing pitcher. As this ball is hit to shortstop, it could have been a double play ball, but mishandled by Mazarol. It rolls out into center field. Now, nearly getting caught in no man's land was Aiden Wild. Somehow, he gets a hand back in the bag. He was rounding second base, heading for third as that ball went out into center field, then immediately changed course and nearly got caught off guard. That was a very close play getting back to the bag. Understandably, head coach Jeff Sylvia heading out to argue how he could have gotten back into the bag. So meanwhile, it will go on an error. It will go as an error on the shortstop. Basazzi reaches first. Aiden Wild just by the fingertips, safe at the bag at second. So 2 on with 1 out now for Blake Hill. The umpire taking a look at the bat of Blake Hill before the at-bat starts, maybe looking at the handle grip. Not quite sure what drew the umpire's attention, but nothing changes for the first pitch, which is up around the eye level of Blake Hill for ball 1. One ball, no strikes, 2 on with 1 out in the bottom of the first. No score yet, but Milford threatening. They've had success this week driving in runs in the first inning, getting 1 in the first against Stoughton here at home and 4 in the top of the first inning on the road against Franklin. Sam Moore in a jam. Some impressive pitching numbers on this Taunton pitching staff. Luke Figuera coming into this week with a 1.17 ERA. Jared George with a 1.41 ERA. But it is Moore who gets the start, and he gets a swinging strike out of Blake Hill to even the count at 1-1. Hill starting to get more comfortable at the plate after a bit of a sluggish start. A lot of expectations on the sophomore. Takes a pitch high. And the count goes to 2-1. Chatter coming out of the Milford dugout along the third base line. Smelling a rally here in the bottom of the first. Here's the 2-1. And it's fouled to the backstop. Still just 1 out in the inning. Griffin Lynch waiting on deck. Runners leading off of first and second. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Check that, the 3-2 pitch. A little behind on the count. It goes for ball 4. So a big time opportunity now for the Scarlet Hawks as they have the bases loaded with only 1 out in the inning. Aiden Wild now the runner at third base. Jeff Basazzi at second. Blake Hill at first. And now here is Griffin Lynch, who was batting over 600 when this week began. Takes a called strike to open up the at-bat. The infield pulled in all the way around with 1 out in the inning. As this is hit hard on the ground to shortstop, but through the wickets of Mazarol. Into score comes Aiden Wild. They will hold the runner at third base. Basazi coming around the third base bag a bit awkwardly now, flexing his right leg. So Milford takes a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning. And a tough start to this game defensively for Brendan Mazarol. His second error of the frame, leading to an unearned run coming home as Aiden Wild crosses the plate. And they're reloaded for Anthony Mazzini. He swings at the first pitch, sends a slow roller to shortstop again. It's boxed around, and everyone's going to be safe, and another run scores. And now you can really see the frustration showing through for Brendan Mazarol. Slaps at the dirt. 3 errors already in the inning, leading now to 2 runs coming home. Jeff Basazi crossing the plate. The makings of a real big inning here in the first inning for Milford. Now here's Pete Schuler. He swings away at the first pitch, pops it up in foul ground behind first base. It is Dylan Poilucci who is able to make the catch. And there is the second out of the inning. The runners stay put now with 2 down, and it will take something from the starting pitcher for Milford, Alex Macek, if we continue in the inning. Looking to help his own cause. A deep breath from Moore. Here's his pitch. And that just misses off the outside edge for ball 1, a close pitch. Coach Pellegrini keeping the base runners alert. Good leads at first and second base. Here's the 1-0. This is driven out to center field. Going back is Mercado, still going back. It's over his head and rolling deep out there in center field. 1 run comes in. Here's another run all the way from first base comes Anthony Mazzini. He will score without a throw. It is a bases clearing triple for Alex Macek. And it is now a 5-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. That's the second time we've seen an outfielder freeze off initial contact, so it may be a tough sky for the outfielders to pick up the baseball, and it was trouble immediately for Mercado as that ball got over his head and all kinds of territory in center field here at Fino. It allowed all 3 runners to come home and score, so a big 2-out hit for the Hawks. Now Tommy Thomas swings at the first pitch and fouls it away. Of course, the errors certainly really helping this rally along. 3 big errors at shortstop. As Thomas is now down in the count, 0-2. Milford sending all 9 batters to the plate in this bottom of the first inning. Here's the 0-2. And that misses. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. Macek a lead off of third base. Here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss for strike 3. And the first inning comes to a close, but a big opening frame for the Scarlet Hawks. They score 5 times to take an early 5-0 lead against the Taunton Tigers as we bring you coverage of Milford High School athletics here on Milford TV. Well, Alex Macek now with a 5-run lead to work with on the mound. However, he was a centerpiece of the offense, scoring those 5 runs, coming through with a bases clearing 3-run triple as part of a 5-run rally in the bottom of the first inning. Taunton doing their part. Real tough play out of the shortstop, Brendan Mazerol, committing 3 errors in the inning. 4 of the 5 runs Milford scored were unearned runs. And Macek delivers strike 1 into Luke Figuera, the right fielder. And quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. Batters 5, 6, and 7 coming up for the Tigers in this top of the second inning. In on the hands, he rolls it foul. Over towards the Milford dugout, handled cleanly by assistant coach Alex Dion. Another 0-2 pitch, this one a little bit high for ball 1. Milford also helped out by coach Steve Matos, also over in the dugout. 2-2 now the count. Macek back into his windup. Here's the pitch. It misses again, so after jumping ahead in the count, 0-2, Figuera works back, and it's now a full count. The next pitch popped up, playable right at the edge of the infield dirt, now about a step onto the outfield grass. It's the shortstop Aiden Wild who makes the catch. You could hear some real strong words out of the dugout on the Taunton side from head coach Jeff Sylvia, urging his team to stay in the game mentally. He could certainly see how the errors at shortstop really weighed on the team as that bottom of the first went along. And now here is Brendan Mazerol looking to start to atone for those miscues. Rolls one foul.
I think we're coming up on 40. How long have we been out? That could have been 40.
Bases are empty with 1 out in the top of the second inning. Milford taking on Taunton. The next pitch from Alex Macek is outside and low. It skips away from Basazzi. Coach Pellegrini coming out of the dugout to grab that loose ball himself. The next pitch on the way, nearly the same location. So the command a bit in and out for Macek. And this is a line drive. That's going to get past the dive of Drew Wild at second base out into right center field. And there is the first hit of the day for the Tigers offense. Getting a base runner in the first inning on a walk. But now a single from Brendan Mazerol puts a runner at first base with 1 down ahead of Kevin Griffin. Griffin, a lefty bat against the righty throwing Alex Macek, who will operate once again out of the stretch. Defensively for Milford, it's Jeff Basazzi behind the plate with Tommy Thomas at third, Aiden Wild at short, Drew Wild at second, and Anthony Mazzini at first. Left to right in the outfield, Griffin Lynch, Pete Schuler, and Blake Hill. And a quick 0-2 count on the Taunton third baseman. Macek looking for his first strikeout of the outing. A big lead off of first base for Mazarola draws the attention of Macek. He steps off, looks the runner back. As the sunshine starts to stream across the field here at Fino. Here's the 0-2. It's golfed out to third base, but it gets past the glove of Tommy Thomas as he went into the dive. It's a bit of a half-hearted swing from Griffin, but it was well placed. Back-to-back singles here put runners at first and second base with one down. Up to the number 8 spot in the lineup now in the catcher Tyler Whalen. So the Tigers trying to claw their way onto the scoreboard, down by 5 runs early. But obviously a long way to go in this game. Just in the top of the second inning. Now a pickoff check at first base. It was a high throw. Sliding back in safely was Griffin. A look down to second base for Macek. Now he comes to the plate. A hard ground ball to third base. In and out of the glove of Tommy Thomas. He steps on the third base bag to get an out there and now throws wildly to first base. And the runners will move up to second and third, so getting the lead runner prevented a run from scoring. Thomas had a lot of options as that ball was hit to him, and you could see maybe the wheels turning a little bit too much. It caused him to not play the ball cleanly on the hop. Took it to the third base bag to get the first out there. And then uncorked a throw to first base that went off and out of play. So there are 2 outs now in the inning, but 2 runners in scoring position. And the first pitch misses high to Jose Mercado, the number 9 hitter. So Whalen reaches on the fielder's choice. The runners move up on the errant throw. As this ball is hit in the air out to right center field, over is Schuler. He can't make the catch. 2 runs will come in to score. Still circling the bases is Mercado. They're going to wave him all the way in as that ball rolled all the way out to the 432-foot marker. And 3 runs are going to score for the Tigers. So we have not seen exactly pristine defense played now on either side. That was a ball that perhaps Schuler should have let go to the right fielder Hill. Instead, he tried to make the play, had it in the glove momentarily, but a very costly error out in center field. Now first pitch swinging. DJ Kula sends one deep out to left field, but tracking it down is Griffin Lynch for the out that ends the inning. But fasten your seatbelts as we see 8 runs put up in a hurry by these 2 teams after an inning and a half. It is now a 5-3 score with Milford in the lead as we bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks baseball on Milford TV. As I mentioned before the break, we've seen a total of 8 runs put up, and we're not yet finished with the second inning. But of those 8 runs that have been scored on both sides, only 1 of them total has been earned. It was 3 errors in the first inning out of the Taunton shortstop that paved the way for a 5-run rally. And then an errant throw at third base for Milford, followed by a big error out in center field by Pete Schuler. That allowed 3 runs to come home to score for Taunton in the top half of this second inning. Now Milford brings the top of their order to the plate to open up the second straight inning. Drew Wild grounded out back to the pitcher in his first at bat. Takes a pitch upstairs. Sam Moore back on the mound for the Tigers. Here's his 1-2 pitch. Drew Wild goes to the opposite field, drops this out into shallow left center field for a base hit. Takes a wide turn around first base before retreating. That's the third hit of the game for Milford. And despite sending 9 men to the plate in the first inning and scoring 5 runs, they only had 2 hits in the inning. Aiden Wild, who comes to the plate now, had one of those hits, a single. Takes a pitch high, starting off ahead in the count, 1-0. Taunton with a pitcher and catcher heading out to the bullpen, so Sam Moore may be on a short leash here in the second inning if he runs into further trouble. Allowing a leadoff single, falling behind in the count to Aiden Wild. As this pitch is floated over the backstop. A 2-1 count on Aiden Wild. He scored one of the 5 runs in the first inning. The runner takes off for second base. The pitch is a ball. The throw down was towards the first base side of the bag, and having to leap up for it was Zach McLean. No chance to catch Drew Wild. He slides into second base safely with a steal. A 3-1 count now on Aiden Wild at the plate, with older brother Drew in scoring position. Here's the pitch. That one sliced foul wide of third base. Aiden offering it a inside pitch. Drew Wild leads off of second base. Here's the pitch. And it's in for a called strike 3. Aiden Wild taking a step towards first base, thinking he worked the walk, but ends up a strikeout victim. The second strikeout for Sam Moore. 1 down in the inning now for Jeff Basazzi. Basazzi reached on one of the 3 errors at shortstop. Starts off ahead in the count, 1-0. One out deep into the bottom of the second inning. Not a crisp pace at the beginning of this game. In fact, not a whole lot about this game so far has been crisp. Two balls and no strikes on Basazzi. And there is a called strike 1. Mario Wilson, the junior, warming up in the bullpen now for Taunton. And the home plate umpire now doing a quick bit of maintenance around home plate. It's a 3-1 count on the Milford catcher. The captain Basazzi at the plate. The captain Drew Wild aboard at second. And the pitch. Hit high in the air out to right field, ranging over towards the line is Figuera. He makes the catch, tagging at second base, and moving up to third is Drew Wild with now 2 outs in the inning. Decent contact for Basazi, but he is out number 2. But a runner at third base and a chance for Blake Hill, who worked to walk in his previous at-bat, also scored a run. A long look in for Sam Moore. Now he comes to the set. Here's the first pitch, and it is popped up behind home plate. Tyler Whalen sizing it up. Now going back towards the first baseline, and he can't make the catch. A high pop-up in foul ground. Whalen tried to stay with it. Not much breeze out there right now, but what wind there is took that back towards the field of play right at the end, and Whalen couldn't secure it in the glove, so a second chance at the plate for Blake Hill with a count of no balls and 1 strike. And now too much time taken. Drew Wild steps off to a lead in foul ground at third base. The pitch is outside and low. Gathering it in quickly was the catcher Whalen, looking Wild back to the base at third. And now a line drive past the glove of McLean at second base, out into right field, and in from third comes Drew Wild. An RBI single for Blake Hill, and now a 6-3 lead for the Hawks. Hill at first base. Here's Griffin Lynch, who reached on an error and scored a run back in the first inning. Milford sending 9 men to the plate in the first inning, now sending their 5th batter to the plate here in the second. As Lynch lifts it in the air out to center field, should be an easy play for Mercado, although you just don't know with how things have started in this game, but Mercado secures it in the glove for the out that ends the inning. Another run home for the Scarlet Hawks. They open up a 6-3 lead over Taunton as we bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks baseball on Milford TV. A 6-3 lead now for the Scarlet Hawks. Alex Macek back out on the mound, about to deal with batters 2, 3, and 4 in the Tigers order. And Macek looking for a shutdown inning. Allowed 3 runs right back to the Tigers after Milford had opened up that 5-0 lead. Although he was not charged with an earned run in the inning. The errors really serving as the catalyst. Too far inside. And an early 2-1 count on McLean, who produced a sacrifice bunt back in the first inning. Close pitch ruled ball 3. Macek stares over the glove for the sign. Now comes to the plate, and this pitch is driven out to left field. Another late break for Griffin Lynch, but that one dropping in very shallow out there in left field. Even a good jump would not have gotten Lynch there in time. It drops in for a leadoff single. It's the 3rd hit now of the game for the Tigers. the hit column close at 4-3 in favor of Milford. And a no ball, 1 strike count on Sam Moore, the leadoff runner aboard. One ball and 1 strike, now the count. Fans from both schools here taking in the game at Fino. Last 2 missing badly for Macek, and he falls behind 2-1. McLean leads off of first as this ball is hit past the glove of Thomas at third base, out into left field. Back-to-back singles to start off the inning. So the Tigers threatening immediately here in the top of the 3rd inning with back-to-back base hits. The Tigers averaging 4.2 runs per game through their first 6 games of the season. So far on the season, a 5-2 win to start off the year against Stoughton, followed by a 4-2 victory over Attleboro. This is a bunt attempt out in front of the plate. Macek's only play is to first. He gets it there in time. Poilucci with the sacrifice that gets both runners into scoring position. So after those 2 straight victories to start the year, a tough 10-5 loss against Franklin, a 7-0 victory over King Philip, followed by back-to-back losses in their 2 most recent games, a 4-2 loss to Mansfield and a 3-2 decision to Sharon. So they've lost 3 out of their last 4 games heading into action this afternoon. But they've scored 3 so far. They have 2 runs in scoring position ahead of Luke Figuera, who takes an off-speed pitch in for a strike. Macek's next pitch stays high. A 1-2 count. Figuera up now, Mazarol on deck. This one's hit off the end of the bat. Foul over towards the parking lot. The sun once again obscured by the heavy cloud cover. Ground ball, it's gonna sneak through the left side for a hit. 1 run comes in, and now a late stop sign thrown up. That will hold Sam Moore at third base. McLean comes in to score on the RBI single by Figuera. Six to 4 now the score. Runners at the corners now for the Tigers. And now here is Mazarol, who singled in his first at bat. The runner takes off for second base. Basazi throws through. A 1-hop throw, and Figuera is able to get the steal. So now the tying runs in scoring position for the Tigers. So a similar storyline starting to unfold here today that the Hawks experienced against Franklin earlier this week, jumping out to an early lead, and then things tightening up. The only out in the inning so far coming on the sacrifice. There's a called strike. Sam Moore is the lead runner at third base, with Luke Figuera at second, each out to a lead. As that pitch misses for ball 4, and they are loaded up. And Milford now with action warming up. Looks to be Brian Ireland, the junior. As now it's assistant coach Alex Dion heading out to the mound to talk things over with Macek. Given leads in this game of 5-0 and then 6-3. But has not been able to have a comfortable inning yet. Has allowed 3 singles and a walk in this inning to bring home 1 run so far. The bases are loaded. And again, Ireland warming up in the bullpen. He did pitch in relief in Milford's 8-6 win over Franklin on Wednesday. Pitched the final 3 innings of that game, allowing just 1 run, also getting a strikeout. So now here is Kevin Griffin, who has a single on the day. He swings and misses for strike 1 against Alex Macek. 1 out, a Tiger at every base. With Milford clinging to a 2-run lead, now a swing and a miss brings the count to 0-2. And now a foul ball to the backstop. Tommy Thomas, a step in on the grass at third base. Anthony Mazzini also in tight at first base. They play a double play depth up the middle. Pitch too far outside. They can't get Griffin to chase. Into the full windup. Here's the pitch. Missing again. And this has been a problem for Macek so far in these first 3 innings. He's been able to get ahead of hitters, but can't quite find that pitch to put them away. Now the 2-2 pitch, he gets it there, an off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss for strike 3. It's the first strikeout for Macek, a good time for it. The bases stay loaded with now 2 outs in the inning, and here is the number 8 hitter, Tyler Whalen. Reached on a fielder's choice last inning. And takes the first pitch in for strike 1. 1 run home so far for Taunton. They trail Milford 6-4. As this one is off the handle of the bat, in and out of the glove of Thomas. He can't scoop it. Everyone will be safe and a run scores. That I would think would go as a base hit. It was a very slow developing play. It would have taken perfect execution from the third baseman in order to get an out. So an infield single for Whalen drives in Moore from third base. And it is now a 6-5 game. What was it, one time a 5-run lead early for Milford, now down to just a single run. The bases are still loaded for Mercado, who sends one on the ground to first base in the glove of Anthony Mazzini. He takes it to the first base bag himself for the out that ends the inning. 2 more runs home in the frame for Taunton, and it is now a 6-5 score. Milford with the lead here on coverage of Milford High Athletics on Milford TV. 6 runs on 4 hits with 2 errors for Milford, 5 runs on 6 hits with 3 errors for Taunton. Anthony Mazzini to lead it off for the Hawks here in the bottom of the 3rd against Sam Moore still out there. Both teams have had relief pitchers warm up in these early innings. Mazzini jumps ahead in the count. Bottom of the 3rd inning from Fino Field as Milford TV brings you this coverage of Milford High School baseball. I am Tim Coet, Rob O'Keefe also on the coverage. As Mazzini sends a hard ground ball fair down the 3rd base line, rolling towards the corner. A wide turn from Mazzini. He gets nearly halfway down the line between 1st and 2nd before retreating. A long single for the Milford first baseman to start things off. Mazzini reaching for the 2nd time in the game. And now here's Schuler. He fouled out to first base back in the 1st inning. Now hits a hard line drive that gets past the glove of Kevin Griffin at 3rd base. First and 2nd now for the Hawks with nobody out after back-to-back singles. Double barrel action now in the bullpen for the Tigers. Jared George joining Mario Wilson. A pair of right-handed relievers warming up for the visitors. And now here is Alex Macek. I do believe I misspoke earlier when I mentioned who had the first RBI producing hit in the game. It was Alex Macek, whose 3-run triple was the first RBI producing hit of the day. Getting it over the head of Jose Mercado out in straightaway center field. Here's the pitch. A bunt attempt. It stays in the air, foul down the first base line, but lands harmlessly. Macek batting here with nobody out in the inning, and Anthony Mazzini aboard at 2nd with Pete Schuler at 1st. That pitch misses outside. A 2-ball, 2-strike count on the Milford starting pitcher. The next one from Moore. This is hit in the air out to center field. This one within the range of Jose Mercado, who makes the catch. Gets it back into the infield quickly. So Macek retired for the first out of the frame. Brings up the number 9 man, Tommy Thomas, who struck out looking to finally conclude the first inning rally. As Milford sent their full complement of batters to the plate in inning number 1. A bunt attempt for Thomas, sends it out towards the pitcher. And out by a running step at first base is Thomas. It moves the runners along. Thomas hasn't been quite comfortable at the plate in these first few weeks of the season, but with his speed trying to get on via the bunt. But makes a productive out. Mazzini now at third base with Schuler at second. 2 outs in the inning as they turn the lineup over. Drew Wild batting for the 3rd time in the first 3 innings. The pitch from Moore in low. Milford scoring 5 in the first, 1 in the second. They have not scored yet here in the 3rd inning, but they have a pair of men in scoring position. Here's the pitch, up high. Ahead in the count now is Wild, 2-1. Moore sets, winds and delivers up high for ball 3. Whalen popped out of the crouch and sent Anthony Mazzini scampering back into the third base bag. Both runners back out to a lead. Here's the 3-1 pitch off the end of the bat, foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. Drew Wild is ready at the plate. Moore ready on the mound. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's high for ball 4. Drew Wild on base now for the 2nd time. The base is loaded with 2 outs in the inning, and out of the dugout comes Coach Sylvia. And it looks like this is going to be the afternoon for the starter, Sam Moore. His day on the mound done, it appears as though he's going to take the place of Billy Emerson out in left field. So the pitching change here at Pheno Field will step aside momentarily. It remains a 6-5 score for now. The base is loaded with 2 outs, and Aiden Wild coming to the plate when we return here on Milford TV. So the new pitcher on for the Taunton Tigers is the junior Mario Wilson. 6'2", 165 pounds. He inherits a bases loaded 2-out situation. And now the freshman Aiden Wild, 1 for 2 on the day, stands in. The first pitch from Wilson is in for strike 1. The starter, Sam Moore, only able to last the first 2 2/3 innings, allowing 6 runs on 5 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 2. He is responsible for all 3 base runners. Here is the pitch. In for a called strike 2. Coach Pellegrini not at all pleased with that last strike call. No balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the inning. Wilson looking to escape the jam on this next pitch. And now Aiden Wild granted time. Four of the 6 runs that Moore allowed in his outing so far were unearned. As this pitch is popped up foul, it's over the backstop and out of play. Stays an 0-2 count. Wilson into the windup. Here's the pitch. And in on the hands, Wild is able to foul it off towards the bleachers down the left field line. And Wild battles on with that 0-2 count. Mazzini at first, Schuler at second. Drew Wild at first. Here's another 0-2 pitch, and it bounces in. Away from the catcher, in from third base comes Mazzini. He slides in safely without a throw. So now a Wild pitch allows the 7th Milford run to come in to score. We've seen runs scored in a variety of ways through these first 3 innings. Runners at second and third now as each base runner moves up on that Wild pitch. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count now to Aiden Wild. And this one stays up high, evening the count at 2. Wilson ready with his 2-2 pitch. Here it is. And it's popped up, but this will again make its way out of play. Fans sprinkled throughout Fino Field. Some in the bleachers surrounding the home plate area, many in the pavilion outside the concession stand, some even in the outfield, all the way down in the right field corner. Watching a lot of offense put up through these early innings. And Aiden Wild once again granted time. Hopefully none of these fans with dinner reservations to make after the game, as we will be here for a while. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's in at the knees for a called strike 3. Again, the Milford coaching staff disagrees. It's the first strikeout of the relief appearance for Mario Wilson, and it strands 2 runners in scoring position. Milford does get 1 more on the Wild pitch. And as we head to inning number 4, it's a 7-5 lead for Milford over Taunton here on Milford TV. The Scarlet Hawks couldn't quite maximize the damage at the plate in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but they do grab another run to give themselves a 2-run advantage over the Tigers. The score 7-5 as we enter into the top of the 4th. Alex Macek back on the mound and promptly delivers a pitch that's sent down the left field line for a hit, thinking extra bases, and getting there with a feet-first slide is DJ Koulis. Gets things started with a double off the very first pitch from Macek. Coach Pellegrini quickly out to the mound. Sam Moore, the starter for Taunton, not lasting through the 3rd inning. Alex Macek out there to start the 4th. But in trouble again, a runner in scoring position immediately to start the inning. The first pitch strike into Zach McLean. As a hit and a sacrifice bunt on the day, also a run scored. Now sends a line drive out to center field. Schuler ranging back, still going back. It's over his glove. They will wave the runner to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's cut off behind second base. No throw into home plate as Koulis scores without a problem. Back-to-back doubles to start off the top of the 4th inning. And back out of the dugout comes Coach Pellegrini, as it's right back to a 1-run lead for Milford. at 7-6, and that is all for Macek. And for the second straight game, it will be Brian Ireland who will be the first out of the bullpen. Takes over with nobody out in the top of the fourth inning. A runner in scoring position at second, and a 7-6 score. We'll take a quick break. More here in the top of the fourth when we return on Milford TV. Well, neither starting pitcher will be a factor moving forward in this game, as Alex Macek gives way to Brian Ireland after going the first 3+ innings. And the first pitch from Ireland is fouled away off the bat of Sam Moore for strike one. The home plate umpire hand delivering the baseball back to Brian Ireland. Not sure the message the umpire wanted to get across. It's the second head-scratching interaction we've seen between the home plate umpire and a member of the Scarlet Hawks. Here's the 0-1 pitch, fouled away down the first base line, and Moore's down in the count, 0-2. He was the starting pitcher on the Taunton side, now playing left field as the flex player Billy Emerson was removed. This ball popped up in foul ground. Basazi going as far as he can go to the backstop. He makes the catch. So 1 out now in the inning. Zach McLean remains at second base. Basazi with about a foot or less to go before that ball made its way over the backstop, but able to get there to make the catch. Now here is Dylan Poilucci, who takes a very close pitch just off the outside edge. Poilucci has popped out to second base and hit a sacrifice bunt in the game. He pops this one up, playable at second base for Drew Wild. He makes the catch. And Brian Ireland has retired the first 2 batters he's faced since entering the game. 2 outs, the Scarlet Hawks fans showing their encouragement, looking for their team to get out of this jam. Luke Figuera up now on the right side. He has a single and a run batted in. And the home plate umpire has heard enough complaining out of the Milford dugout. Very demonstrative in his warning issued to the Milford dugout. Coach Pellegrini did come out and have a semi-mild-mannered discussion with the home plate umpire in between innings after the borderline pitch that went as strike 3 to Aiden Wild to end the bottom of the third. Ireland trying to escape this inning. That ball in on the hands, rolled foul. Two and one the count to Figuera, with McLean out to a lead at second base. That pitch inside for ball 3. Three balls and 1 strike with 2 away in the inning. Ireland's next pitch in for a strike. And now the umpire talking to the batter Figuera after that last pitch. The payoff pitch now, and this is a liner out to left field. It drops down for a base hit. A stumble as he went over the third base bag by Zach McLean, and that will cause him to dive back into the base. It may have preserved the lead for Milford. Lost his balance coming across the third base bag. It would have been a close play at the plate, but after that stumble, McLean doesn't try it. Stops at third base on the single by Figuera. Runners at the corners now for Mazarol, who swings at the first pitch, drives it out to center field. Ranging back goes Schuler. He makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Milford is able to escape the frame with the lead just barely intact. Heading to the bottom of the fourth inning, it is now a 7-6 lead for the Scarlet Hawks, as you watch coverage of Milford High Athletics right here on Milford TV. All sorts of fun happening at the ballpark today as we enter into the bottom half of the fourth inning, a 7-6 lead. If you like offense, you've liked what you've seen so far. If you like defense, that's another story. Mario Wilson out for his first full inning of relief as he faces the 3, 4, and 5 bats in the Milford order. Jeff Basazzi, first pitch swinging, hits a pop-up to third base. Kevin Griffin makes the catch, 1 pitch and 1 out here in the bottom of the fourth. Basazzi now 0 for 3 on the day, and now here is Blake Hill, who has reached base twice. He walked and scored a run in the first inning and hit an RBI single in the second. Wilson a long look in, now into his windup. Here's the pitch outside for ball 1. Wilson came into the game with a bases loaded 2-out situation in the third, was able to get Aiden Wild on a called third strike. The 1-0 pitch in for a strike. A vocal crowd here at Pheno Field this afternoon. The temperature continuing to drop here as we get later into the evening hours, as this one is looped down the left field line, foul and out of the reach of Sam Moore. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on the Milford right fielder. Hill readies himself at the plate. Wilson into his windup. Here is the pitch, high for ball 2. A very deliberate windup out of Mario Wilson. Milford riding a 2-game win streak coming into this afternoon. Taunton trying to break out of a 2-game losing streak. The 2-2 offering is high and away. And now Whalen will have a chat with Wilson before we see another pitch. The Scarlet Hawks will play their next 2 baseball games away from Pheno Field. Their next game will be on May 4th at King Philip, followed by a May 5th start at North Attleboro, both of those 3:45 starts. Their next game at Pheno will be on May 6th against Wayland, part of a stretch of 4 games in 4 days next week for Milford. So after having a very light early portion of their schedule, starting to make up for it now here as we get towards the middle of the season. Meanwhile, Blake Hill works the 1-out walk. So 2 walks in the game now for Hill, who's reached base all 3 times he's come to the plate. Now Griffin Lynch swings at the first pitch, hits a high fly ball on the infield. The shortstop has it sized up and makes the catch. It looks as though we have a different infield alignment here for Taunton in the 4th inning. Looks to be Jared George at shortstop. As the runner takes off for second base, the throw is in the dirt, bounces to the backstop, and Hill slides into second base without a throw. So indeed, it looks like Brendan Mazarol has moved from shortstop to third base. George is in the game at shortstop. Cannot make out the numbers in the outfield to determine if the original third baseman, Kevin Griffin, is out of the game entirely. The next pitch into Anthony Mazzini is lifted in the air out to shallow right field. In comes Luke Figuera to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. And for the first time in the game, Milford goes an inning without scoring a run. We've played 4 full now from Fino Field, and it is a 7-6 lead for the Scarlet Hawks here on coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. So here is the answer to our question from the previous half inning as Jared George steps into the batter's box in the number 7 spot in the lineup, so Kevin Griffin is indeed out of the game. Griffin, the original third baseman in this Tigers lineup, now gives way in the 7th spot to Jared George, who was out at shortstop defensively in the previous half inning, with the original shortstop Mazarol moving to third base. As George pops this pitch up behind second base, it's Drew Wild backpedaling just a hair onto the outfield grass to make the catch. So both of these relief pitchers trying to stabilize things here in the middle innings. You saw Mario Wilson work around a walk in the top half of this 4th inning, holding Milford scoreless. Now Brian Ireland looking for a quick top of the 5th. He came on with 1 out in the 4th inning. Did allow a hit, now allows a high fly ball out to left field. Getting to it quickly is Griffin Lynch, and that will hold Tyler Whalen to a very, very long single. That one deep towards the left field corner, but Lynch playing it quickly on a hop, firing it back into the infield. So just a single with 1 out for Whalen. And now Jose Mercado takes a called strike 1. Another close pitch. This one ruled a ball, 1-1 the count. Ireland continuing to do work around the pitching rubber, kicking away the loose dirt. Whalen back out to a lead at first base after the pickoff attempt. And now off the end of the bat, this one is floated to third base, the out there. The throw back across the diamond will get away from Mazzini, and now the runner will be able to move up, trying to get to third base now. The throw into third base dangerous as the runner slides in safely. And it looks like now Coach Pellegrini is going to rule that that ball rolled out of the field of play and that they should send the runner back to second base. So Tommy Thomas able to make the catch on the liner. But then throwing across the diamond to try to catch the runner before he could tag up. The ball gets away from Mazzini, rolls all the way down the right field line. So there are 2 outs now in the inning, but a runner at third base. And the first pitch low into DJ Koulis, who hit a ringing double in his last at bat. That's the second error on the day for Tommy Thomas on that throwing miscue that allowed Whalen to go from first to third. Fooled on that pitch was Koulis. 2-1 the count on the Taunton leadoff batter. The pitch from Ireland sails inside, nearly hits Koulis. And now a 3-1 count. And now a full count. From what I could hear of the conversation between the home plate umpire and Coach Pellegrini, it seemed like his explanation to the coach was that he had the ultimate judgment call into where that runner should have ended up on the play, as this ball is hit out to right field. The catch made by Blake Hill, so it's all academic as the runner is stranded at third base. No runs come home to score in the inning for Taunton, and we head to the home half of the 5th inning, and it is still a 7-6 lead for Milford here on Milford TV. Taunton is now out-hitting Milford 10-6 in the game, but Milford does still lead in the run column 7-6. Errors are even now at 3 apiece. As it will be Pete Schuler, Brian Ireland, and Tommy Thomas, the bottom third of the Milford order, coming to the plate here in the 5th. Mario Wilson continuing his relief appearance. He fires that pitch in for ball 1 to Schuler. An inning and a third of scoreless relief so far for Wilson. He is not yet allowed a hit. He has 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And now hits Schuler, either high off the shoulder or off the helmet, but no reaction from Schuler as he trots down to first base. Looked like it was an off-speed pitch. May have helped with the contact. Of course, that's easy for me to say. Puts the leadoff man at first base, and now the first at bat of the day for Brian Ireland, taking over this number 8 spot in the batting order for Alex Macek. And Ireland starts off with a called strike 1. A big lead for Pete Schuler at first base. He takes off. The pitch is swung on and grounded to first base. The first baseman, Poilucci, will take it to the bag himself for the out. So a little hit and run action for Milford. Puts Schuler into scoring position with 1 out. And the third at bat of the game for Tommy Thomas. Sacrifice bunt in the last at bat for Thomas. He also has a strikeout in the game. Swings away at the first pitch, lines it out to center field. That drops in for a hit. They will wave Pete Schuler to the plate. The throw is cut off on the pitcher's mound. A bit of a double clutch behind the mound for the first baseman, Poilucci, and that was enough for Schuler to get in safely at the plate with the 8th Milford run. An RBI on the base hit for Tommy Thomas. Milford now with an 8-6 lead. The first hit and first run surrendered by Mario Wilson. So after hitting the first batter of the inning, that runner comes home to score. An excellent speed on the bases with Tommy Thomas at first. He holds on the first pitch into Drew Wild, which is inside for ball 1. Now a check over at first base, and sprawling back to the bag was Thomas. Drew Wild now in his 4th at bat today. He has grounded out, singled, scored a run, stolen a base, and walked in the game. Now Thomas takes off as this pitch is popped up on the infield. Thomas skids to a halt about 2 feet from the second base bag, but is able to get back as the shortstop George makes the catch. Two down now in the 5th, and here is Aiden Wild, who singled and scored a run in the first inning and has then struck out looking twice. Another pickoff throw at first base. Thomas this time electing to go back to the bag standing up. Jumps right back out to a lead. As Aiden Wild awaits his first pitch, Thomas takes off again. The pitch is low, and no throw from Tyler Whalen. That low pitch kicking up some dirt. It looked as though that prevented Whalen from getting a clean grip on the baseball, and he just holds on to it. An uncontested steal of second base for Thomas. The 1-0 pitch, far inside, and it hits Wild. Just grazing the uniform on the way by. Wild didn't make a move towards first base until the umpire's ruling. So the second hit batter of the inning. And Jeff Basazzi has to discard the shin pads as he will take an at-bat here with 2 outs in the 5th. Basazzi looking for his first hit. Batting with runners at first and second and 2 down. The first pitch is in low. Wilson had been effective in his first inning and a third of relief, allowing just a walk. But the command faltering here in the bottom of the 5th. As now he delivers another pitch down in the dirt, blocked out in front by Whalen. That prevents any advance from the runners. And now Coach Sylvia will come out of the Taunton dugout, sensing things trending in the wrong direction for his relief pitcher. Action again in the Taunton bullpen. Now Max Bowden, the junior, warming up. Jared George, who's currently in the game at shortstop, did warm up in the bullpen earlier. As the conference breaks up on the mound, it is a 2-ball, no strike count to Jeff Basazzi. Milford bringing home their 8th run of the game earlier in this inning. They have 2 runners aboard at first and second base. Tommy Thomas leading off of second, with Aiden Wild leading off of first. Wilson sets. His 2-0 pitch is hit in the air out to shallow right field. A long run out for the second baseman, McLean, who had the best angle to it, and he makes the catch for the out that ends the inning. So 2 more runners stranded on base for Milford. Make it 7 runners left on base and all in the game. But as we head to the top of the 6th inning, it is now an 8-6 lead for Milford. As you enjoy coverage of Scarlet Hawks baseball here on Milford TV. Milford once again up by a pair of runs, 8-6 the score. Brian Ireland back on the mound for his 3rd inning of work. And delivers the ball into the number 2 hitter for Taunton, Zach McLean, who made a nice catch out in shallow right field to end the previous half inning. The 1-1 pitch in for strike 2. Ireland working both sides of the plate. Top of the 6th inning here at Pheno Field, as this one is tomahawked to third base, but past the glove of Thomas at third. Thomas dropping to one knee, going to the backhand. And you could immediately see Coach Pellegrini talking to his third baseman about getting into better body position to make a play on that ball. It's his 3rd error of the game. As this pitch is driven out to right field, Blake Hill twisting around back there. It clanks off the glove and lands on the grass. Over to third base now comes McLean. They'll throw a stop sign up.
Nice job, Sam. Way to turn on it.
2 runners in scoring position now with nobody out. And unfortunately, the tough defense continuing, but now the scales tipping on to the Milford side as they commit 2 straight miscues here to start off this 6th inning. And now Ireland in a jam with 2 in scoring position. You could see that Blake Hill was in trouble right away on that ball. He kept twisting and turning around in different directions to try to pick it up. He did get to the ball, had it in the glove, but just didn't squeeze it. Here's an 0-1 pitch off the end of the bat, foul and out of play. Nothing in 2 the count. Ireland could certainly use a strikeout here. The infield is drawn in all the way around. Here's the pitch, and it's cued foul. There is further action now up in the Milford bullpen. As Ireland delivers an 0-2 pitch, it's floated out to shallow center field. Schuler's there to make the catch, tagging at third base is McLean. Here's the play at the plate, and sliding in safely is McLean with the 7th Tigers run. Sam Moore remained at second base. So credit Dylan Poilucci with the sacrifice fly. And an RBI. Back to a 1-run game. Each time Milford has grabbed a little bit of insurance in this game, they've immediately given it back to the Tigers. Milford has led the entire way to this point. But back to just a 1-run game as this ball is driven down the line in right field. A long run into foul ground for Hill. He makes the catch. Now tagging at second base and moving up to third is Moore, with now 2 outs in the inning, so a better play out in right field this time from Hill. Figuera is retired. Now 2 for 4 on the day. And now here is Brendan Mazarol. Takes a look at a called strike 1. Both fan bases into it here with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. The tying run at third base as this ball again is hit out to right field. Blake Hill underneath, he makes the catch, and the inning is over. And as the bells chime out 6 p.m. here in Milford, we head to the bottom of the 6th inning with Milford leading by just 1 run, up 8-7 over Taunton, here on coverage of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV.
I want him ready, though.
The third pitcher of the day now utilized for the Taunton Tigers is number 9, Max Bowden. The junior right-handed pitcher listed at 5'11", 162 pounds. He takes over for Mario Wilson, who pitched 2 1/3 innings of relief, allowing 1 run on 1 hit. He also walked 1 and struck out 1. And Blake Hill, who saw plenty of activity in the outfield in the top half of this inning, will now lead it off here in the bottom of the 6th. And takes the first pitch from Bowden for a called strike 1. Despite that error out in right field, it has been a good day overall for Hill. He has an RBI single to his credit, also 2 walks. Here he lifts a pitch out to left center field. Both outfielders confused, but into the dive goes Sam Moore, and he holds on to it for the out. You could see both of them looking at each other, wondering who was going to take charge. Finally, Moore caught a glimpse of the ball and was able to track it down. So a self-inflicted tough play, but in the end, Moore is able to make the catch for the first out of the 6th. And now here's Griffin Lynch. He reached on an error and scored in the first inning. Since then has flown out to center field and popped out to shortstop. So Lynch has cooled down at the plate a bit after a very hot start to the season. One out and the base is empty in the home half of the 6th inning. The pitch from Bowden is swung on and missed. Griffin Lynch very badly fooled. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Lynch did have 2 hits in the game against Franklin on Wednesday. So not much of a funk at that. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and again he swings away at that pitch in on the hands and fouls it off. Lynch on Monday against Stoughton, officially 0 for 3. He did have a sacrifice fly, but also a pair of strikeouts. Another 1-2 pitch and another foul ball. Hanging tough. This game over 2 hours old now, between the Davenport Division Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Kelly Rex Division Taunton Tigers. A lot of tough foul balls here from Griffin Lynch. Another 1-2 on the way, and it drops in for a called strike 3. Lynch frozen. The first strikeout in the outing for Bowden. It's the 4th strikeout for Tigers pitching. And so Bowden 1 out away from delivering the first 1-2-3 inning of the day, and allowing his team to come to the plate in the 7th inning down by just a run. But first, some business to attend to against Anthony Mazzini, who looks at strike 1. Mazzini reaching on an error, also has a single in this game, 2 runs scored. The windup and the pitch, chopped foul. And Mazzini's down 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning. The bases are empty. Bowden looks in for the sign, nods his approval. Here's the pitch, and it's low and away. Whalen kicking up a lot of dirt around the plate as he skidded behind the left side batter's box to try to corral that pitch. Bowden has the pitch he likes. Here it is, and it misses for ball 2. Looking ahead to the top of the 7th inning, it will be the bottom third of the Tigers' order coming to the plate. Here's the 2-2. It's hit on the ground. It's a fair ball down the left field line into foul territory. Mazzini digging for second base. Here comes the throw, and he is out at second base. Tried to slide around the tag, but a good throw in from the left fielder, Sam Moore, gets Mazzini at second for the out. That ends the inning, so Milford will take the slimmest of leads into the 7th inning. They lead over Taunton by a score of 8-7. Don't go away now. Stay tuned to coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. Brian Ireland has allowed just 1 unearned run over 3 innings of relief. Came in the 4th inning after Alex Macek went the first 3+. He's allowed 2 hits, has not walked anyone or struck out anyone. But looking to finish off this game here in the top of the 7th inning, deals in a called strike to Jared George, taking his 2nd at bat since coming into the game. Replacing Kevin Griffin in the lineup. Here's the next pitch. It's hit on the ground towards shortstop, a bounding ball handled by Aiden Wild. His throw to first base. They're just in time to get George for the first out of the inning. And immediately now Coach Pellegrini out of the lineup, out of the dugout. Looked like he was perhaps concerned about Anthony Mazzini. But Mazzini signals to the coach that he's fine, so he heads back to the dugout. The leadoff batter retired in the inning. 6-3 on the ground out. And now the first pitch up high to Tyler Whalen, the catcher. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run in the 2nd. Drove in a run on an infield single in the 3rd and singled again in the 5th. A 1-ball, 1-strike count with 1 out and the base is empty here in the 7th. 2 outs to get for Ireland. Here's the pitch, and it's swung on and missed. Jose Mercado, the center fielder, waiting on deck. Here's the pitch. In the air and foul ground behind first base. A diving attempt for Mazzini, but it's out of his reach. First baseman doing all he could. And the count stays 1-2. Back on the pitching rubber is Ireland into his windup. The 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball that doesn't break. Stays up high for ball 2. Ready with another one. High and tight. And now a full count. A walk would put the tying run on base. Ireland a deep breath. Here's the pitch, and it's high for ball 4. So the 4th time on base for Whalen out of the 8th spot in the lineup. He represents the tying run at first base. And it looks like they're going to get a little bit of extra speed on the bases as the first base coach takes off the warm-ups and steps on to first base to take over for Tyler Whalen. Be an amusing sight if it happened in a big league game. So the pinch runner is Denzel Santos, and he's immediately checked on by Ireland. Mercado now up at the plate. He has reached on an error, but hitless on the day. Swings at the first pitch and hits it on a line to the backstop. A long look into the plate for Ireland, now a check over at first base. A big lead for Santos, and checked on again with the pickoff throw. And now timeout granted at home plate. Denzel Santos running for Whalen, who worked the one-out walk. He leads off of first base. The pitch into the batter, Mercado, misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out and 1 on here in the top of the 7th. And now this pitch is lined out to center field. A long run for Schuler. He can't get there. It drops in front of him for a base hit. Moving up a base into scoring position goes Santos. So Ireland, after retiring the first batter of the inning, allows a walk to the number 8 hitter, a single to the number 9 hitter, and now the top of the lineup about to come up. And the top of the lineup will face a new pitcher as Coach Pellegrini takes the ball out of the hand of Ireland. And out of the dugout comes Alex Croteau, looking to get the save. He'll make a few warm-up tosses. We will pause for just a few short minutes and be back with more next here on Milford TV. Both teams have now utilized 3 pitchers in this game as Alex Croteau comes out, the normal starting pitcher for this Milford team, coming out looking to serve as the closer. But inheriting a dangerous situation here, the tying run in scoring position at second base, the potential go-ahead run at first base, 1 out in the inning, and facing the leadoff hitter, DJ Koulis. And first pitch swinging Koulis sends it in the air foul and out of play over towards the concession stand. As we mentioned earlier in this broadcast, Croteau with a complete game victory in his appearance here at Fino on Monday. Monitoring that runner at second base as he deals in a borderline pitch, ruled a ball. Not quite sure where that one missed. But it's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Croteau ready with another, and there is strike 2. The JV squad's now here in attendance as their game is wrapped up. The 1-2 pitch hit on the ground towards shortstop. The throw to second base out there, no throw from Drew Wild to try to finish off the double play, wisely so. It was a slow roller. Deliberate out there at shortstop was Aiden Wild to make sure he didn't misplay the ball. Sent a careful throw to second base. So Mercado erased from the bases. Koulis safe on the fielder's choice. Taunton has the tying run at third base, but they're down to their last out with now Zach McLean at the plate. Here's the pitch from Croteau, and it's in for strike 1. McLean working on a 2-hit day. He has an RBI and a run scored. Also a sacrifice bunt in the game. The 0-1 pitch is hit on a line out to center field. Racing back is Schuler. He reaches up and makes the catch, and the Scarlet Hawks win the ball game. Well, after jumping out to a 5-0 lead in the first inning, it became a very uncomfortable game for the remainder of the following 6 innings. But all's well that ends well for the Scarlet Hawks. They walk away with an 8-7 win. Taunton strands the tying run at third base. All kinds of action in this game. So Milford finishes up the day with 8 runs on 7 hits and 5 errors. The Tigers finish up the day with 7 runs on 11 hits with 3 errors. The win will go to Brian Ireland. Alex Croteau earns the save, slamming the door over the final 2/3 of an inning. And the loss goes to Sam Moore, who pitched the first 2 2/3 for the Taunton Tigers. So Milford extends their winning streak to 3 games. They're now 5-2 overall on the season. The loss is the 3rd straight for Taunton, who dip under the 500 mark now at 3-4. So again, a couple of road games coming up on the schedule for the baseball team. We will have 2 games on our coverage schedule next week for the softball team, as they will take on a couple of tough Kelly Rex opponents in King Philip and North Attleboro. So expect that coverage coming up on Milford TV. But that wraps up things for today. For Rob O'Keefe, I am Tim Coette. Your final score one final time: Milford defeats Taunton by a final score of 8-7. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics on Milford TV. So long, everybody.